Hi, it's Nicole. This is kind of going to be a little bit out of my norm, but then again, I don't really have a norm right now. I kind of just want to talk about the things that are on my mind and kind of get them out of my brain and out in the world and just see what other people's perspectives or experiences have been like. This will be very minimal editing, and there's not going to be really anything visually except for me sitting here in the candlelight of my Himalayan salt lamp, 2 candles, small simmer pot, and crystals. If you could probably guess where this video is going to where the vibe's going. It's going to be sick. A lot of it's just going to be me talking. This is kind of like a side of me that I don't really outwardly put out because I wanted my online presence to be more silly, spontaneous, lighthearted, things like that, but I'm very multifaceted, okay? And I've kind of been returning to myself a lot more in the last few months, and so that's what a lot of this is going to be like, and I really hope that I can explain it well, because it's hard for me to completely put it into words, but I can do it better now than I used to be able to, if that makes sense. I do have a video from a few years ago called I'm Afraid of Dying, and this is kind of similar in that sense, but a lot more positive. Not as depressing as that one, but it's weird. I'm 25. I'm still quite young in the grand scheme of things. So I've lived a lot of life. I've had a lot of different eras and different things, and they've all kind of jumbled together and apart and all sorts of a big conglomerate. That's just kind of how life is. But especially the last few years have felt insanely long for me anyway, and I don't know if that's just the getting up to being 25, and I don't know if all the things that I'm saying are going to be oh, that's my frontal lobe developing, or if that's going to be all my medicine is working really well, and I'm taking care of myself, and I'm worrying about my health, and it's giving me a different perspective on life. It could be just both. It could be both. I don't know. But it's kind of like a weird bittersweet feeling. I'm the happiest and the most well mentally I've ever been. Genuinely, I've said that a couple times where I'm I feel like I'm the best I've ever been. And of course, you can always get better, you can always get worse, and it'll always go up and down. That's just the way life is. Whole circle of life, all that jazz. But at this point, this is the highest peak I've had mentally, and that's a different conglomerate of a lot of things. Conglomerate's been my word lately. Please forgive me. But it's been kind of like a roller coaster, especially these last couple years. It was weird because I went most of my life being oh, well, I want to be a YouTuber or an internet celebrity. I want to be like Smosh. I want to be like Jenna Marbles. And then as I started getting older, I was well, I don't even know if I want to be alive. And so then when I graduated high school, it's I don't know what I want to do with my life. And I was well, I kind of like art. I'll just go into art. And I pursued that, and then I gave up on that, and then I pursued wanting to be a marine biologist because, the ocean, and especially sharks, that's been one of my biggest passions of all time. But I'm not very good at science in school, so I didn't do a very good job with that. And I went kind of back and forth with different fields with art and science, things like that. And then I just kind of was just you know what, no, I want to be a YouTuber. And then I got really into streamers, and I started to stream. And so the last few years, my biggest dream was to be a successful streamer. I wanted to be like Cutie Cinderella. I wanted to be like Julian. I wanted to be like Ludwig, and I wanted to be like Germa, because I love Germa. Who doesn't love Germa? But in the span of me doing the streamer stuff, I kind of just like completely got rid of a bunch of the other things that really mattered to me. They weren't necessarily like gone. I very much was still like, I was still like a little crystal girly, and I was still like a manifestation girly, and I was very much, I was like, oh man, I crave doing art, I crave creation, but I'm working on a different type of creation right now, and I was so worried about, fitting into like the mold of like what the people I looked up to in like the streaming and YouTube space. I was like, well, if they think of me this way as like some weird art kid, some weird ex-theater kid, some weird girl that's like, oh, we're all kind of connected in a way, then I'm like, they're not gonna take me seriously, they're not gonna want me, so I'm like, I'll just be a gamer, And I love video games. Obviously, I love nerdy shit. That's like, I've always been like that, but I was so worried about being like this one side of me that wasn't like the full me. And so, and I thought it was working, because it's like I met so many streamers that I look up to. I got in very good connections with different creators that I looked up to and different kinds of content. I got into the Discord community, and I got into, like different gamer communities, all sorts of things. I was streaming, I was making friends with people, I was interacting with people that I looked up to, and, regardless of the positive and negative endings of different things with that, like, I don't have any ill will towards anybody. I really don't. Even, like, somebody could cut my leg off, and I'd be like, you know what, you probably had a reason to do that. I haven't been perfect. Other people haven't been perfect to me. That's just life. Everybody deals with things and does what's best for them in that moment, because inherently humans are selfish, and the best you can do is just try to survive, right? Pardon me, Glade. That's my Glade air freshener. Shout out Glade air freshener, not sponsored. But, throughout, especially the last like couple years, especially, I spent like 5 years wanting to be a YouTuber, wanting to be a streamer, and in the last couple years I'm like, damn, this shit kind of sucks, right? I took the break, and I took a long break, and unfortunately I accidentally just took another break like for the last few weeks, like unintentionally. Like it wasn't even that I've been cooking ideas, I've been cooking content, okay, behind the scenes. I just haven't actually done anything with it. I have a bunch of stuff filmed and unedited, back to that cycle again. That's great. But it's been just like, I unintentionally took a break, because I just like I've just been like out living, I've been gardening. And I mean like actual gardening. I have not been smoking them. I haven't been smoking weed, so, but I've been gardening outside and growing vegetables. I've been making art. I've been scheming art. I've been coming up with all these different ideas for like creative endeavors, and I figured out like a big dream of mine that I like finally like connected in my brain, and I've been learning and like researching. Like, I don't know if it's because like my and I've been like learning things that I've always been interested in, but like haven't really like completely understood in my mind. And it's like I got on my ADHD pills, and I don't know what happened, but now I'm like a fucking like thought daughter, not like a slut thought, like a thinking thought, and I wish I was a slut thought. I really do, but like I'm unfortunately I'm thinking. I've got thoughts in my head and not on my arms, And so I've been researching all these things that like I knew about, but I've been deep diving, like political theory, religious theory, different religions from around the world, ancient religions, different deities, different gods, different political movements, the fashion movements that were aligned with those. Been watching a lot of commentary videos about different things. I've been, reading books. I've been reading classic literature. I've been studying different philosophers, things like that. And it's not that I didn't have an interest or a passion in those things before. It's just that I didn't like take the time to actually like sit down and try to like, I've just been like, I've literally only been ingesting knowledge. That's what I've been doing. I've been doing that kind of on and off for like a few months now, but like literally within the last like probably like month, it's been constant. Like I can't even pay attention at work because I'm like, there's so many things about the world that I need to learn about right now. I've been sitting there on like Wikipedia and going between all these different pages and different resources and links and all that stuff, and just like anything that comes to my mind, I just start researching it. It's been just so weird. I got back into meditating. I only did that every now and then, but I've been doing it like, almost every day, not every day, stuff like that. And I've been trying to eat well, and it's been wonderful. And I just like, I don't know. It's like, is this just like because my frontal lobe developed? Is this a normal thing that people go through? Or is it just because like my anxiety meds and my thyroid pills and my ADHD pills are working so well together that I'm suddenly becoming fucking mega mind over here? Like my fucking noggin's gonna get swelled up, and like I'm so happy. Like I love myself. I want to take care of myself, and I feel beautiful. My soul is beautiful. My heart is beautiful. I'm compassionate, I'm empathetic, I have good intentions in everything that I do, and I love that about myself. I'm genuine, and I care about other people, I care about myself, I care about the world and the environment, and I'm such a fucking radical leftist. But genuinely, like I've been like researching that stuff, and it's like, it's good to know that like the things that I already thought that I believed in, I believe in as hard as I thought that I did in a lot of cases. And I've been looking at things from opposing point of views that I don't completely agree with, just to see what they're saying. And then I'm like, wow, you really are stupid. And then I move on with my day, right? And it's just like kind of weird. And like I feel crazy in a way, but I also feel like wonderful. I feel great. I've never felt this gusto for being alive without the fear of what comes next, It's insane. And then at the same time, like as wonderful as it is, it can feel incredibly boring. When you get better, it gets very boring. And I've been making jokes about that. I'm trying to come to terms with that, because now of course I know that there's ebbs and flows in life, and I've learned so much, and I've kind of come to a lot of levels of acceptance in various things, but it's like I don't have like that weird like on the verge of psychosis feeling anymore, and it's just like so weird, and like it's kind of scary in a way, but not like scary and like a debilitating, like I'm just gonna give up and let it all fall apart again like I usually do. I'm more like, wow, this is intimidating, and there's a whole world out there, and there's so many things I can do, and I wish I had more time to do all of it, And it's a weird place to be, and I don't really know how to navigate it or what to do about it or how to like make it make sense. And I don't know. I've been just on a quest for knowledge, a thirst for knowledge, and the things that like have really fascinated me. I've been like taking notes and making playlists and saving things, and it's like I don't know, because it's like I say all this stuff, and I'm like, I either am making so much sense, and people are like, yeah, that's what happens, or like, oh, I've been through an experience like that. That's why I hope somebody is still here to listen to it and let me know if they've experienced it. Like, it's not like enlightenment. I'm not a Buddhist or any, I guess I don't know what other religions also believe in enlightenment. Probably all of them in some ways, but I gotta look that up tomorrow. But it's like that's the closest I can relate it to, I guess, is like I'm just like, huh, okay, you know, and I don't know. And it's making me just like, it's making me question a lot of things where I'm like the things that I thought mattered to me, like in a sense of like societal standards, things like that, they don't anymore. I'm like, I feel like a hippie, almost. I feel like a hippie. Like, I don't know how else to, like, describe it. But, yeah. It's like, I feel crazy, but not in, like, I'm actually going to go in psychosis way, and I don't want you to think that I am. Like, genuinely, I'm doing very wonderful. I'm very open about it. If I wasn't doing well, I would let you know. I've done a lot of cries for help on the internet and privately that have been ignored. So, thank you. But I feel very wonderful. And it's like weird and like bittersweet. Cause it's like kind of sad that it's like the torturous parts of my brain are behind me at this moment. And it's making it overwhelming to think of where to go from there. So, I hope that I explained it well. I was literally talking out loud to myself in the shower, because that's how I, like, get ideas out of my head, as I, like, sit there and I, like, talk to myself in the shower like a freak. And I was kind of, like, trying to word it, because it's like, I want to put this out there. I'm going to put it on my YouTube, and probably, post it or post about it on other socials, just because like I genuinely want to know what people think. So if you did make it this far, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, in regards for me and what content I'm gonna make in the future, I'm still kind of thinking about it. It's probably going to be a lot of, you know, art related things. I'm trying to connect better with that side of me, because it genuinely, like, it feels right to me. It's what's important to me. I hope I can, the big idea I have, I hope I can kind of talk about that more in the future as well. I don't know. But, if you have any insight of what your experience with this is kind of, or what you think this experience is for me, or what should I do with it? What kind of things do you want to see me do next? I know a lot of people are like, just do what you want to do. But if I did what I wanted to do, I would be living I'd have a giant garden and a bunch of chickens, 3 cows, a porch with a bunch of wind chimes. I'd be a little witch, and I would paint pictures on my porch, and have a pet goose. Not work in corporate America, that's for sure, but alas, I have to pay my bills. Anyways, let me know if you think I'm just fucking nuts, or if you have any insight. I appreciate it. This was kind of long, and I'm not going to edit it, so I hope that I didn't fuck up. So, I'm going to go to bed. Good night. Bye.